When it comes to Boxcutter and edit mode, pressing Q will bring up the HardOps edit mode menu, and if we look at Mark, we see that shift clicking it will bring up the edit multi-tool. Edit multi-tool can also be brought up under the SD3 mesh tools under edit multi-tool, but my favorite way is bringing it up via shift clicking, the most prominent option in the Q menu. So to just show how I work with the multi-tool and some of the improvements that have been had with it, we'll just stretch this box in edit mode, and we'll just Control B to roll this out. And in order to set us up with something to merge, let's actually use Boxcutter, and we'll just start off with some dots, extrude this in, press W to turn off wedge, extrude it out, press B to round these bevels off, we'll press Control K in order to make it a knife, and then press spacebar. And so now there's a knife projection of the design we were drawing implanted into the model. And from here we can press S or press E, Y, S, Y, 0 in order to flatten it out, and we can press F in order to end that. So now comes one of my favorite games of actually understanding geometry. There's a bunch of additional geometry here, some of it's not needed. By shift clicking the select tool, there's a thing in select tool where basically if you have a selection in select tool, you can press B in order to bevel an edge. And so that's what I use to put like a spacer bevel in order to protect the integrity of this area while I actually begin refining this area. So if you look at this, you see that basically every extra edge that's created has spawned next to an edge that's actually of pertinence. So if we look at this, you would think, oh, I should just get rid of this edge because this edge isn't connected to anything. This edge is actually more critical to the foundation than the edge next to it. So an easy way to kind of clean this stuff up is by going inside of the auto merge vertices, and from here we can just see which of these are actually contributing to the curvature and which ones aren't, and begin merging them. So for this one, let's just shift click Mark, we can just select M and we'll just merge. Take a look at this area, let's just merge this one. This area is an easy judge, you can tell which ones aren't actually contributing to the form. With this one, I could tell that it's this one. For this one, I selected the wrong merge, so I actually merged in the wrong order. I could press Control Z in the modal, but in the event you have a selection, you have to drop it, you could always press C. Continuing on with our merge-a-thon, just judging these edges, we can see that this edge isn't actually critical for the form as much as the edges next to it. In fact, I feel that the more I do this, the more I ponder a solution to actually eliminate all the guesswork of having to do this as a user, but it's always fun to get in and just kind of understand the results that we get from our booleans and possibly why they occur. So with this done, we can now press spacebar and it's complete. However, one of the things I do like to do is bring up an edge loop and place it right down the middle in order to connect with this area. And then by shift clicking sharpen, we can lower to auto smooth, giving us a rather fine looking result. Even though this result is far from perfect, there are things that can be done to actually optimize this area even more with us redirecting choice areas in order to get the geometry to flow a little better. But normally I'll get this to a level that's actually competent, and then depending on the shading and artifacting, I'll refine it even more over time. But really with that, we're wrapped up with this. I can press Alt X, jump to something like bisect, and instead of bisect, we actually want to use bisect mod where it leaves a modifier afterwards. And let's do it to the other side as well. So now we've mirror modified, bisected to the other side. We can select this face, press I, press B in order to use the boundaries and ignore them and be a part of them instead of working against them as we would before, and then just extrude this in, and we've actually began the foundations of this particular walkie-talkie study that I'm obsessed with. I just wanted to show some of the improvements that's happened with the multi-edit tool. Another improvement that's happened with it is in the event that you're merging geometry, you can actually make the points bigger. Sometimes I'm on a retina display, so if we jump over to select tool, we press M to jump to merge, and we see that we're not really able to read our vertices, and it's because we didn't actually jump to vertice mode whenever we jumped into the tool. So we press Q and we shift click Mark in order to use Mark, and we see that our vertices are a certain size. Well, pressing plus and minus on the keyboard whenever you're in merge mode will actually make the vertices bigger. So in the event that you're having issues merging because you're on a high resolution laptop display or 4K, just know that you can go in, make the vertices as big as you want, and if you were to even right click and cancel, we see that the geometry actually goes back to the way it's supposed to be. And if we use merge again and we make the vertices big and we actually perform an operation and complete it, we see that the geometry also refers back to its original size. And this is because adjusting the vertice size is something associated with preferences. And I particularly don't want to have modals adjusting the preferences of the user without their consent, except for temporal state. So it's something that we're experimenting with. But in the event that you want to make your vertices bigger, you just need to go under your themes 3D view, and then you can choose how big you want your vertices to be in the 3D view. But just letting you know that plus and minus will scale down your vertices, adjusting the theme preferences on the fly whenever you're using Merge as part of SelectTool.